Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Welcome to AppSex online support program. This is week 10. Dear students of class 2nd year, I am your English teacher Miss Sayyida Rubana. This video lecture is part 2 of this lecture. In part 1 we have done unit 3 selection 3.2 reading selection and theme and the summary of that selection. Here we are going to the applied grammar part, that is we are going to do the conditional sentences and different uses of tenses. So the first topic is conditional sentences. Before going into the details of these conditional type sentences, first of all we must define and we must know what is the conditional type of sentence and what are different kinds. So we can define it. Conditional sentences are sentences that express one thing contingent on something else. That is, for example, if it rains, the picnic will be cancelled. They are so called because the impact of the main clause of the sentence is conditional on the dependent clause. So these are called conditional sentences because the main part of the sentence, the impact of that sentence is conditional on the rest or the dependent part. Let's see how many parts of the conditional type sentences we have. We have basically two parts. In all types of conditional sentences we have if clause and main clause. If clause you can easily identify with the word if. Like here a sentence is written, if it rains we will stay home. Here if it rains, if clause is there, and then we will stay home is the main clause. So if clause and main clause are the main parts, two parts of the conditional type sentences, whether it is 0, it is 1, it is 2 or it is 3, right? So all conditional type sentences have two parts, the if clause and the main clause. It does not matter which clause comes first, but when if clause comes first, we should put a comma after it. Like if it rains, if clause in the beginning, we will stay home, we put a comma because there is no use of conjunction between these two. But when we have we will stay home if it rains, so if clause comes in the end, so we have we don't have to put the comma over here because it is joined by a conjunction if. Okay, let's see the kinds of conditional sentences. Here are four main kinds of conditionals. Number 1, the zero conditional, then the first conditional, the second conditional and the third conditional. Here is a structure given to you in front of the kinds, each kind. Now in zero conditional kind of sentences we have if clause. In if clause we have simple present, and in main clause we have the simple present tense. So this kind of sentence is zero conditional. In the first conditional type sentences, in if clause we have the present simple tense, and then in main clause we have the will plus infinitive. In the second conditional type we have in if clause simple past and would, should, could, might with infinitive, right? Then in the third conditional type we have if clause with past perfect tense, then would, have with the past participle form, like the third form, right? Let's start with the conditional type sentences. Here is the first type 0, right? And we are going to we use them especially in universal truths, obvious things, facts, causes and consequences. The basic structure is if or when with present simple with present simple. Here the present simple first is the if clause and the present simple is the main clause. Like you can see the examples. If you freeze water, here if clause is in the simple form. If it turns to ice, so it turns again is the simple tense, present tense. If you heat metal, it expands, so if you heat metal, again heat metal is the present simple present, and it expands again simple present. Okay, what happens when you heat water 200 degrees? Okay, here are some sentences in which we use, instead of if, we used when as well, right? If you have problems, talk to your doctor. When you throw salts to the water, it boils later. So all these are different kinds, and they show you the zero type sentences. First conditional type. Basically, first conditional type is used, the first conditional type, to talk about something that might happen in the future if a condition exists. Like, if clause is having a condition exist, when we put comma and then we have the main clause, and the main clause as a result will be true, right? So we can see that the first main if clause is in the present form, and the main clause will be in the future or imperative or modal verbs. And here are the examples. You can easily see and understand that if you study, you will pass the exam. Here in the first red part, that is the if clause, and it is having the present simple present tense. And in the second part, that is the green one, you will pass the exam, we have the future tense. If the he doesn't eat, if he doesn't call, you should tell me immediately. Here you should tell is the modal verb. So here are the examples of the first conditional type. Now next is the second conditional type. We use second conditional type to talk about present or future hypothetical or unreal situations. For if clause, we have the condition, that condition existed, that is already done, that is the past tense. We put the comma and then the main clause is placed, that is the result would be true. Like, we can have word, could, might, and infinitive. And here are the examples. The blue part is going to show you the if clause. If I won the lottery. And the green part is going to show you the main clause. I would buy a yacht. If I had a better salary, I could travel more. So here these are the sentences, conditional type 2, that is second conditional. Here is the third type conditional, in which we use the third condition to talk about past, hypothetical or unreal situations. And here the if clause have the condition had existed, right? That is the past perfect. We put the comma between them, and then the main clause is here. And in the main clause we use the word, could, might or have with the third form of the verb, right? So the examples are given. If you had come to class, you would have passed the exam. You didn't come to class and didn't pass the exam. It means that thing has happened, no? So there is no possibility of happening now. If he hadn't his helmet on, he might have died. So he might have died if he hadn't had his helmet on. So we can write this sentence in this another way, that is also given to you. So third type conditional, I have already told you. It is a combination of if clause with had with third form, and the main clause with word, might, could, have or the third form. Okay, now we come to the written task. I'm going to assign you the task that is from the applied grammar. You have to solve the exercises relating to uses of tenses. First of all, the exercises are given, different tasks is given to you after each and every sentence. Like first sentence is that he did his work with diligence. You have to change this sentence into future perfect. Then I will not allow this to happen. You have to change into simple past. So all the tasks are given into you are directed to do. They are given in the bracket form, and you have to solve. And here are some tasks relating to the conditional exercises. Now conditional type 1, conditional type sentences 1, in which you have to put the simple with future tense, right? If you go out with your friends tonight, I will watch the football match on TV, right? So this is a combination of conditional type 1 is the combination of the if clause with present tense, simple present, and main clause with will and shall. Conditional type 2, there are the examples, sentences given to you, and you have to solve them. Again, this is a combination of the past tense and the could, might, have with the second form, first form of the infinitive either. Conditional type of sentences, conditional type 3. The examples exercises given to you, you have to solve it again. Here also you have the third type. In third type you have the if clause with third form of the verb, and the main clause with the might, could, have, with, would have with third form of the verb. And the final task is that you have to learn 5 idioms daily. You have to write the given exercises of tenses and conditional on loose sheets. Dear students, that's all for today. Stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.